We've been covering the autopen scandal, and tonight it just detonated to a whole new level. President Trump went on a late-night Truth Social rampage, firing off over 160 posts in just 5 hours. Of course, the media is calling him unhinged, but buried in that barrage was something that has Washington freaking out, especially the Obama family. Trump reposted content from Alex Jones featuring Patrick Byrne, who is now claiming that Michelle Obama herself may have actually used Joe Biden's autopen to push through last-minute pardons. The paper presidency just got a new name attached to it. And here's why this matters, because we've already reported on Trump declaring all autopen signed documents null and void. He's called Biden's administration a hologram presidency run by handlers with a robot pen. But now the accusation has a specific target: Michelle Obama. The claim, the former First Lady may have been the one physically operating the autopen in the final days to sign pardons for the regime's inner circle. Now, there is no public proof of this. It is an allegation, but Donald Trump signal boosted it to millions, and that turned a theory into a political grenade. And the corporate media immediately attacking, calling Trump a lunatic, saying he's spiraling. But his supporters see something else: a president willing to name names and expose what they believe was a shadow government operating behind a mentally diminished figurehead. The legal battle over whether the autopen pardons are valid will rage on, but politically, the Obamas just got dragged into the center of this firestorm. And while the political class tries to hide their decline behind robot signatures and handlers, the rest of us have to actually take care of ourselves. In a recent clinical trial, women who took 2.5 grams of collagen peptides daily for 8 weeks saw a 25% reduction in eye wrinkle depth, a 9% improvement in skin elasticity, and a 29% boost in hydration. That's why I use BioTrust Ageless Multi-Collagen. It supercharges skin health using 5 premium types. Now, I've noticed smoother skin, more elasticity, and a youthful glow. I mean, look at my face. Plus, supports joint health and bone strength. Grab a bag at 51% off at healthwithgary.com. You'll get free VIP coaching, a free ebook, a 60-day guarantee, and free shipping. Go to healthwithgary.com to get yours. But here's what makes this story even bigger. You see, this is not just Trump ranting into the void. Diamond and Silk picked it up. Eric Daugherty blasted it out. Accounts across the platform are now repeating the same phrase. Trump suggests Michelle Obama was caught using Joe Biden's autopen. Meanwhile, the House Oversight Committee dropped its own bomb with Representative James Comer, stating that there were never any meetings scheduled for Biden to review pardon applicants. His staff hid his decline, blocked access, and used the autopen even after Merrick Garland's own DOJ said not to do it. So the question is no longer just whether Biden was signing his own documents. The question is who was signing them for him and what did they get in return? On your screen, you can see the post that was made by President Trump. Wild. Michelle Obama may have used Biden's autopen in the final days of his disastrous administration to pardon key individuals, Patrick Byrne reveals. Now, this is the Truth Social post. You can clearly see that President Trump took a screenshot of the post and then shared it on Truth Social, not unlike when the president has done similar things with posts that I have made. If you remember the Chipocalypse meme that I made, Chipocalypse Now, or even the YouTube victory when he won $25 million from YouTube, things of that nature. So this is how President Trump reshares some of these things. And before we get into that, this is the actual post from Alex Jones that was posted. As you can see, same text, but there was video attached. Now, President Trump did not include that video in his Truth Social post. So let's listen in detail. Now, think about it this way. President Trump screenshots the post, shares the header, and that's it. The only way for President Trump to do that is if he were to actually watch this video here and essentially agree with it to start the narrative. And now the narrative is exploding all over the web. Let's listen.
In the last days,
they're now turning on their former bosses, which shows they know they're done. I mean, explain how big a deal that is to have their top people, because it's not just, they've already gone to the White House. Then when the White House says, well, then go show us. If we were to trust you, go public. They're now going public. So explain what happened last week.
Well, networks, a general rule is networks under pressure break down. They start breaking down, people turn on each other. So just by keeping the pressure on over a long time, it's breaking down. People are off trying to make their own deals. People are not, roll early, roll often. When you're in a mafia like this, you want to be one of the first guys to roll. It doesn't do you any good to wait till other people have given up the information. But yeah, they recently came out, Michelle Obama, in the last days of Biden, Michelle Obama went in and used the autopen. I think there were 4 or 5 pardons she gave. And then you'd love to see, who knows if they charged $1 million a pardon, who knows how that's so illegal. That is so illegal. But they've gotten away with murder for 17 years. There's no rule of law on all these crazy scandals that you've talked. There's no rule of law. By the way,
I watch body language. I've seen Obama in the few interviews he's done. He is a stuttering idiot. He is scared. All of his bravado is gone.
Well, for the first time in life, he hasn't got a bunch of people carrying him, and he's turned gray. I mean, he just looks terrible. I'm sorry to see that. I don't want him ill health. But he overthrew the country, and I'm saying that as a guy who worked for him. I was a national intelligence asset directly under his pen. And I'm telling you this he tried to overthrow the United States government. It all started Thanksgiving of 2015. It's when it really all, at the very least, it really all started then.
All right, stay there. Let's go to Venezuela.
So there you have it. That's the post that President Trump witnessed himself with his own eyes, decided to share it with the world. Now, continuing to some of the reaction, of course, as we covered this yesterday, President Trump canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the autopen did so illegally. And we have some more. This, again, it's all over. Trump says Michelle Obama was caught using Joe Biden's autopen, articles everywhere. All Biden pardons canceled because Michelle Obama used Biden's autopen. Mexico will pay for the wall. Grocery prices are down. We cut drug prices 1,500%. And, of course, they're calling it dementia. This guy, Tom Stark. Continuing right on. Here's Patricia. Who used the autopen? Was it Michelle Obama? Danny K. Politics, Trump reposts Alex Jones' claim that Michelle Obama may have used the autopen in final days, prompting social media concerns about the president's mental health. But, of course, nobody wanted to talk about Joe Biden's mental health for his entire administration. Trump makes a couple posts on Truth Social, and it's certainly all called into question. Even Jimmy Kimmel decided to break down Trump's latest Truth Social rant, which included 160 posts sent in just 5 hours. We'll dig a little bit deeper into this. We won't play the clip. However, let's see. Another day, another barrage. This is what they write. This is from Mashable. Another day, another barrage of Truth Social posts from the president, but this time even Jimmy Kimmel was shocked by the sheer volume. He says, it was snowing in Washington today, and there was a blizzard last night, an avalanche of angry posts on Truth Social from guess who, says Kimmel. Our president, and I know I've said this before, but for real this time, he went completely off the rails. The man who's allegedly running the country banged out an onslaught of posts and reposts in a furious social media blitzkrieg that started at 7:09 p.m., went nonstop until almost midnight. From 7 to 12, he posted 160 times. It's an average of every 2 minutes for 5 hours straight. Yeah, well, if you were President Trump and you were constantly attacked by the media, you were dragged into court, and you had to get a mugshot, I think you would be just as pissed, right? Especially if you knew for a fact that the autopen was running the country, and then you find out that Michelle Obama may have had a hand in it. Now, we all know the story that Barack Obama said, if I had a third term, I'd love to have a little earpiece in the guy's ear, and I'd whisper in his ear, and I'd tell him what to do. That's basically what that entire presidency was. Remember, Barack Obama never left Washington, D.C. He set up an office in a home where he continued his operations. So it's really not a far stretch to consider that Michelle Obama actually may have had a hand in that. Now, I think we would have to check on all of the logs to see if Michelle Obama actually went to the White House, when she went to the White House, or, I mean, that would give you substantial proof from the White House logs. However, she could have given orders from outside. She could have used a whisper network to facilitate the orders that perhaps came from Barack Obama himself. So there's still a lot of questions here. Of course, these are claims that are made by Patrick Byrne, but there still needs to be more deeper investigation. And of course, with President Trump amplifying it, the investigation is happening. I mean, the internet is doing its thing. Even People magazine talking about it. Trump fires off with a 160 post late night True Social spree, covering everything from Christmas to Michelle Obama. Megaphone News England. In a new record for rant binges, U.S. President Trump unleashes 160 posts on Truth Social Monday night between 7:09 and 11:57 p.m., sometimes with barely a minute between them. The posts range from attacks on his political opponents to self-praise and misinformation. Yeah, that's what they like to call it. Diamond and Silk even weighing in. Trump suggests Michelle Obama was caught using Joe Biden's autopen. Megyn Kelly calling out Michelle Obama for not liking America or Barack and for being narcissistic and racist. Kelly condemns Michelle for blaming all her problems on white people and thinking we care about her hair. Get over yourself, Michelle.
She's really obsessed with, has there ever been a more racist first lady? She's a racist. That's what we've learned about Michelle Obama. It was a slow reveal. Like, we started to learn, first we found out she doesn't like America. And then we found out on her show she doesn't like her husband, at all. Then we started to find out she's really obsessed with herself. She's somewhat narcissistic. And then we found out she's a racist. She really can't stand white people. Every problem in her life is as a result of some white person who she imagines is judging her. Like, we're actually spending time thinking about whether her hair is curly or straight. I have news for you, Michelle. On behalf of all whites, we have better things to do. So get over yourself. Has there ever been
Get over yourself. Well, apparently she didn't, and was apparently or allegedly sending orders. Silent Orbit writes, I just wondered what would happen if Melania Trump spoke about black folks the way Michelle Obama speaks about white folks. Here's a clip.
Well, it's like a lot of people want to know, well, what do braids mean? What does she mean? Look, y'all.
What does she mean?
That's what white folks are. It's like, what does that mean? What are you saying? We're saying nothing except I just don't want to have to do my hair every day. And I want to go swimming. I don't want to have to worry about it. Let me explain something to white people. Our hair comes out of our head naturally in a curly pattern. So when we're straightening it to follow your beauty standards, we are trapped by the straightness. That's why so many of us can't swim. And we run away from the water. People won't go to the gym because we're trying to keep our hair straight for y'all. It is exhausting and it's so expensive and it takes up so much time. It's like a lot of people want to know, well, what do braids?
Oh, well, unbelievable. Moving right along here. President Trump posting, Michelle Obama may have used the autopen. But going deeper into the actual autopen, kind of rehashing some of the backstory here, that Adam Schiff, Mark Milley, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the J6 committee, all of these pardons are now null and void, according to the president. Listen.
Who operated the... I'm going to read you exactly what he posted. He said, quote, any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with the autopen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. He says the autopen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. He also says in that post, quote, I am hereby canceling canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the autopen did so illegally. He goes on to say in that post, Joe Biden was not involved in the autopen process, and if he says he was, he'll be brought up on charges of perjury. He says, thank you for your attention to this matter. Of course, this was just...
Thank you for your attention to this matter. Shifting to James Comer, who is at the head of this investigation.
Scheduled. Not only did we depose the Biden inner circle, we also got the calendar, the emails. There were never any meetings scheduled for President Biden to review the pardon applicants. There was never a press conference by Joe Biden to explain what the executive order was or who he pardoned and why. There was no evidence that Joe Biden was involved. And what we did find was that this inner circle shielded President Biden not only from the American people, but from his own administration. So it's about the cognitive decline of Joe Biden, the fact that his inner circle covered it up, and there was no evidence that he was involved in the decision-making process, and thus that's why they used the autopen so many times on legal documents, even when Merrick Garland's Department of Justice told him not to.
So let me tell you what just happened. The President of the United States reposted a claim that the former First Lady was operating the machinery of government behind a senile puppet. Legal experts say that Trump cannot actually void these pardons by decree. The courts will likely uphold them, but that's not the point. The point is that millions of Americans now have Michelle Obama's name fused to the autopen scandal in their mind. The paper presidency narrative just became the Obama presidency narrative. And no amount of media damage control can put that genie back in the bottle. So this is what happens when you run a government through handlers and hope that nobody notices. For 4 years, we watched Joe Biden shuffle through events, lose his train of thought, and disappear for days at a time. Now we're learning that a robot pen was signing documents in his name, possibly without him even being in the room. And tonight, the accusation is that Michelle Obama herself may have been pulling the strings on last-minute pardons. True or not, the political damage is done. Trump has framed Biden's entire tenure as illegitimate, a paper president run by the Obamas and their allies, while America was told to ignore what they saw with their own eyes. The media will scream conspiracy. The lawyers will argue validity. But the American people are asking a simple question. Who was really running the country? Now, my question for you, do you believe Barack and Michelle Obama dictated the use of the autopen? Yes or no? Drop your answers in the comments, and you can show support for this show, and you can get your own autopen shirt right there. You see it? President Autopen. You got to see it. It's there in the merch shop. Get one and support the show.